Welcome to the Coachzing Show, offering you the latest creative content marketing tips to help you work less, earn more, and help more people. Are you a coach zinger yet? Join the community where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers come to discover the latest industry trends and partner with other like-minded professionals. Go to coachzing.com/community to join. And now, here's your host, Doug Foresta.
Hello and welcome back to the Coachzing Show. This is your host, Doug Foresta, as always. And this is a show with you, coaches, therapists, speakers, and authors to work less, help more, work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. Back with me is Stephen Washer. And if you have not heard the previous episode, I encourage you to go ahead and it's episode 95. And it was just about a year ago, actually, that we did this last episode. I'm really excited to have him back and talk about his journey and where things have gone since then. Stephen Washer is the Sherlock Holmes of video marketing, and he is on a mission to unlock the power of DIY video so that thought leaders, mavericks, and shingle independent business owners can use the power of movies to attract clients and other opportunities that take their message far and wide. You can visit him at brainyvideo.com. That's brainyvideo.com, and we'll put that link on the show page. Stephen Washer, welcome back to the Coachzing Show.
Thank you, Douglas. It's nice to be with you again.
Thanks. So, yeah, I thought, I thought we would start with maybe we were chatting a bit before, and it sounds like you've had quite a journey since we last spoke. And I thought maybe if you wanted to just sort of share with us, sort of, professionally and what's been going on for you since we last spoke.
Well, I guess, sure. Okay. So earlier this year, I went in for what I thought was going to be a minor operation, and it turned out to be that they basically took one of my vocal cords away. And so basically what you're hearing is the result of me trying to work with one vocal cord now. And I have two, just one of them just is sort of a layabout, doesn't do very much. Wow. So, but that really put me out of commission for about 3 months. And in doing that, I really wasn't around. I didn't hardly send anything out and wasn't talking to anyone. Well, I couldn't talk to anyone. I mean, for a few months, I couldn't speak at all. And I started rethinking everything about my business. And so it has been some, disconcerting. It's been rough. It's been amazing. Yeah. I've just gone through all kinds of, roller coaster stuff. But here, coming out on the other end, coming through the tunnel, I've had some realizations about the industry that I'm working in and that you're working in as well. This whole success industry, and if we talk about that at some point, that's okay too. I really want to give people, the reason why they tune into you is to get some usable information, and I do want to get to that. Sure.
So anyway, I'm curious about. First of all, I'm glad that. I mean, I was saying before. I mean, it's amazing because your voice actually sounds okay to me, but it's pretty amazing. So I'm really curious for you. I mean, having been through all this, and what are you most excited about? I know your specialty is video. I mean, what are you most excited about right now in terms of content creation for yourself or your clients?
Well, I think that people today are starving for inspiration, and not just in certain areas. I think in all areas of their life. And I've done a few things lately. I've put out a few things lately that, while they haven't, gone completely viral, because my stuff is not really, meant to go viral, they have been picked up and talked about in places that I normally spend absolutely no time, like Twitter, for example. So I recently shared something on resentment and how it can affect your videos. And so, like, nothing could be less technical than a blog post on video. But it hit a nerve with the kinds of people that I want to work with, people who aren't afraid to look into themselves and learn and grow from what they see there. And so it just got picked up on Twitter and sent all over the place. And it was very nice because it was a piece that I had no idea what would happen with it. But, it just shows me that there is an undercurrent of people needing something more, just something more, something that hits them in a deeper place than just, whatever the end result is that they're going for. I'm not sure if that makes any sense. But without inspiration, there's even a verse in the Bible, without inspiration, the people perish. And I think that really, every marketer, I think, innately understands that. But I think that we get so caught up in in the idea of getting to the end result. Whoa, what works? What works? I don't want to know something that doesn't work. Just tell me what works. Not understanding that there are 15 million variables that go into what works for one guy as opposed to what works for another guy. And no one can tell you what is going to be inspirational to you. You're the only one who can determine that.
Well, and doesn't that, I think that's so interesting because, of course, there's so many people out there, so many programs of like, just follow my ABC steps, right? And you will be certain for success.
Yes. It's like if you do A, B, C, you will get X, Y, Z, as though life is some technical, algebraic formula.
Right.
When really, all you can do is prepare the ground, water the plant, put the fertilizer on it, have these experiences in your life where you get prepared, where you prepare your own understanding, where you're open to what might happen, but you can't make the orange grow. That's not your job. That was never your job. And to imply that it is, and that if someone just does what you say, do this one thing and you'll get this on the other end, I think that's a crime. I think that's a thought crime.
Yeah.
But that's the culture we live in, and I'm just getting more and more tired of it. So there are things that we can do, though. There are wonderful things, incredible things that we can do that will lay the groundwork for, success, if that's, what you want to call it. There are things we can do. And I think that the idea of preparing content that is inspirational has always been important, but I think today it's even more important than it's ever been.
It's so interesting to me because as I'm reflecting on what you're sharing, it's like you lost your voice, right? I mean, you physically lost your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side of it, it sounds like you're gaining your voice. You're getting even more clarity about what your voice is. So it's just really interesting to me about how, that, and for me, like, I know that would be my biggest nightmare. Like when you share that, I'm like, oh my gosh, everything I do is about voice. I'm talking all the time. I never shut up. So, I think it's so amazing how like, it's like I mean, I know you had a strong voice before, and not saying you didn't, but it sounds like you're getting even more clarity from this experience of sort of having lost and regained your voice.
Well, I appreciate that, Doug. I don't know. I know that something has shifted, and it's allowing me to see things from a level that I don't think I did before. When you can kind of see the opposites that you're working at, like we're all told to go for the gold, go for that. But the opposite of that is being worried about not getting there. And so most of us spend our days being yanked from one end of this opposite to the other. And living in that opposite, there's nothing else. There's no other potential that it has when you live from that level of yourself, that low level of yourself. There's just nothing else. And so people I know spend their days just absolutely being bullied by their own emotions and their own motivations that they don't understand. And we go through life mechanically now. I think most of us do. And so if this has anything, if I have anything to say now in video, it's to get your act together and be your best self on video. Be your highest self on video, your whole self, your less divided self, so that when people see that, the right people for you will show up. It may not have anything to do with virality. But it will have to do with making a real connection.
And when you say that, I mean, part of what I'm thinking is, and this is, it's like, speak your truth, and you can't. I know for myself, like if I'm worried about how many likes will I get off this video, how many clients will I pick up from this video, what will this do for my business? It's hard to show up. It's hard to show up fully present if you're always having this attachment to some other thing, right? If a video is about getting to some place, let me know if this is anywhere in the right vicinity, but this is what I'm thinking, that it's hard to really be fully present if you're attached to some outcome that you want to see happen.
Wow. I couldn't have said it any better, Doug. That's absolutely it. It's all about having the attachment to that particular outcome. And you don't have any control over that outcome, not really.
Right.
I mean, all you can do is do the best you can to get ready for it. I think in the Bhagavad Gita, it says something like, you're not responsible for the fruits of your labor, but only the labor itself.
So can you say a little bit more about inspiration? So I think for some people, let's say they're like, well, I'm a relationship coach, so, pretty easy to think about what inspiration might be. But let's say I'm a business coach, or, I do something that's, I don't know, that seems pretty concrete. Like what?
Yeah.
Can you say a little bit more about what you mean by inspiration? Like what would that, yeah.
Yeah. So with inspiration, the idea is that you're shining a light into an area of darkness. So if a person is we all have, sorry, let me back up a little bit.
Sure.
Anyone can respond to a truthful statement because there's a part of us that recognizes the truth wherever you see it. If you hear a beautiful song, a Bach cantata or something like that, no one has to tell you how to feel about it, right? There's just something in you that responds automatically, and it changes you for that moment that you're listening to it. So when you have a message and it is a truthful message about whatever area it is. So if you're a business coach, for example, and you want to talk to someone about how they have to change their mind shift when they're about to put out a video or something like that, right?
Yep.
All right. So you can talk to someone about that by shining a light into an area that they just don't ever think about, because either they've never been exposed to it or they've never approached it from that particular angle before. But whatever the reason, there is an area of darkness there. And you come in and with your flashlight, with your little pen light, and you put a little tiny bit of light in that area of darkness, and it changes the darkness. It changes it, the combination of the light and dark, changes it into something new. And that something new is a little bit of revelation and inspiration that the person gets from that revelation. It's not possible for it to work in any other way. It's a law of nature.
Yeah.
So this is all you have to do, and it's not so difficult. It's just understanding what you do and how it relates to what people need in a way that you can reach them in an area that you have a piece of expertise in that they don't. And a lot of times, the reason we don't do this is that we have the curse of knowledge. The curse of knowledge being that, well, we just know too much about it, and so we assume that everyone else understands it too, and they just don't. You have all this specialized knowledge that you've taken years and years to accumulate and understand and appreciate at a very deep level, and so you undervalue it. And you assume that everybody else knows it too, and they may know 1,000th of what you know, and so all you have to do is pull out a little piece of it. But that's what people don't want to do. They're afraid that if they pull out this little piece of it, it will be not enough. It will be not appreciated. And actually, usually the opposite is true. This is what I've found. Like if I talk about, well, let me just give you an example real quick.
Sure.
So I did a video on how to digitize your videos for YouTube. Well, that's like the very last step in the video making process before the video uploads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a throwaway thing for most people.
Right.
That video has more views than any video I've ever done.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of views.
Yeah.
Whereas most time, maybe I get, 300 or 400 views. So, and it never occurred to me that that could be the case. So, you know what I did, Doug? A couple of years later, I made another version of it and I updated it because some of the tools had changed.
Mm-hmm.
And that video in only a year has almost the same number of views.
That's so funny.
And it's just a little tiny piece of light shining in a place that has mostly shadows in it.
Well, and I think it's a whole other way of thinking about content too. To me, it's like, what is content, right? Is content like, I think sometimes people treat content like, it's like I give you a gift with a string on it. Here's your birthday gift. Where's mine?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this is a real problem, isn't it? And so one of the things that we've done to try to ameliorate that a little bit is working in the area of funnels, more automated funnels, where you can sort of pre-plan all that, and it's not kind of scammy. But I think this is why the inspiration piece is important.
Yeah. Because
if you keep doing that, if you just keep creating content like that, you will be unforgettable, I promise you. And now remember, we have to look at all of this in context. We are talking about marketing now.
Right.
We're basically talking about, like, you talk about working less and making more and serving more people. Well, that happens if your marketing is good.
Right.
That happens if you're really good at what you do and people spread the word and, this and that. But all of that is kind of a marketing thing. So when I talk about inspirational content, I am talking about marketing. And so we have to distinguish the kind of content that is helpful for you, but also helpful for the people who consume it.
Right. Exactly. There has to be both. And yeah, it's interesting that I love what you're saying about this piece about inspiration in video. And I love that your tip about video isn't like, use an SLR camera or, use this lighting. It's like, it's about being more inspirational. I think that's beautiful.
Well, I think if people can get that in their heads, I think they'll just enjoy the process an awful lot more. And also understand that, most of these pieces that you're going to create, they're going to be on social media, they're going to be on YouTube, they're going to be on Facebook, maybe Twitter. And all of these sites are basically made for snackable material, Right. You're not going to put out like a 15-minute treatise on, SEO, deep,
Did you see my 50-minute TEDx on? Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's just not going to happen. And it's actually not a very good idea to begin with, because when people don't know who you are, they have to be introduced to the value that you bring in somewhat small doses. And so that's why I think that if you can be inspirational, if you can give people a little revelation with maybe even a technical tip, then it automatically causes more curiosity, and interest in what you're doing, and they want to, most normal people, if they're in that market,
right.
If they're looking for that kind of information, they're going to want to take the next step. It's not guaranteed, but if you keep doing that kind of stuff, then the next, when they are in a mind to pursue that kind of work with someone, that someone they're going to think about is you. In fact, coaches have the inherent ability to create whole new areas of coaching,
right?
Because there's so many areas of life, and I think that maybe people are a little frightened of staking out a claim in a very a too niche-y area because they're worried that there may not be that many people in it. But boy, oh boy, there's so many people today, and the internet has created infinite possibilities for niches. I would think especially for coaches, and talk about an area where you could create inspirational content in an area that you're working in that not that many other people are working in, everything you say is going to be a revelation.
I think that's great and so much needed in terms of, I just appreciate you sharing your words of wisdom and really, yeah, it's a move away from the cookie cutter advice and cookie cutter, like you said, trying to, the way I've heard of it is like putting water in an envelope, trying to control life,
And just about as effective. Yes.
And just about as effective. I want to make sure as well. I know I gave people this at the top of the show, but can you share with listeners again how to reach you and if they want to work with you and learn more about you? Yeah,
sure. My website is brainyvideo.com. Is BRAINY video.com, and they can email me at steve@brainyvideo.com if they like.
Steve Washer, thank you so much for returning, and I'm so glad that you have your voice back.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I want to remind you as well, if you've not subscribed to the show, go ahead and visit iTunes, click on the subscribe button. You'll get new episodes each week, helping you to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. Till next time, this is Doug Foresta at The Coachzing Show.
Thanks for listening to The Coachzing Show. Need help getting your book out of your head and onto paper? Need help marketing your books or speaking engagements? We can do it for you. Go to Coachzing.com to learn more. Are you a coach zinger yet? Join the Coach Zingers community where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers meet. You'll get exclusive access to private mastermind calls where you can get instant marketing help from industry experts. Plus, we'll help you forge deals and partnerships with other like-minded professionals. Go to coachzing.com/community to join now.